Hello, everybody. It's Isabella here from The Real You. And today I'm joined by Tulsi Patel, who actually we're partnering together because she's writing a great book on bullying and because we are so passionate about also helping kids in schools and everywhere really to kind of counteract that people don't want to or kids don't want to bully anymore. And so, yeah, welcome and thanks for taking the time and speaking with me today, Tulsi.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to make the time to speak about light. After all, it's my passion.
Yeah, perfect. So, do you want to maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and a little bit background?
Sure. So, my name is, I go by the pseudonym of T. Denj Patel, and I'm from South Africa originally, but have been traveling for about 18 years, and which has finally made me come back around again, back to South Africa, where I am presently, right now, where you see me. This is the place where light was born. So, yes, I've been a traveler, and I would say that light is a product of South Africa.
Yeah, nice. So you've traveled for the past 18 years. That probably also gave you a bit, I guess you've probably learned a lot along the way of other cultures and other backgrounds. Does that also come into play in your writing?
Yes, definitely. So the light has been born purely because of the experience I had in my life. And I felt like it's been inspired by my nephew, whose name is Arin, and I made him the ambassador for light here. And so he has to step up as a role model now for other kids, which he's pretty excited to do. So I saw the South African boy, and it reminded me about how I grew up as a South African, but I didn't have the answers until I went around traveling and learned about life. And I look at this little boy as he's going to ask me a lot of questions, and what a way to do it in the form of a story.
Yeah. So so your book is geared specifically towards kids, right?
Yes, light is dedicated for children and for parents in some way to be able to have a look at the angle, which, quite frankly, I found out a parent had to pull their child out of school because of bullying, and it's a hard one to juggle when it comes to bullying and who the teacher believes. And the teacher will say the child behaves perfectly well at home. Obviously, you're not going to believe us. And there's this game being played between teacher, child, and bully. And the child feels lost in this whole triangle.
Yeah. So when you talk about that, do you have your own experience around bullying?
Yes. So I have written a book called The South African True Colors, and I just released my book, The South African Roma, yesterday. They both based on a true story, but I believe it's too high level English for a child of 11-year-old to read the first book. So it's the age starts from, say, 13, where they will really understand and they can read fluently. But in there, there's a chapter, and in that chapter, I think that chapter, the whole chapter is about the experience of bullying and how it breaks down a child's self-esteem.
Yeah, actually, I've listened to your first book, um, and it's been very interesting, and you know the whole intrigues between different children and how they act, or if it's a one-on-one situation, you are kind of best friends, but then in a group situation, it's kind of maybe they turn around and stab you in the back kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they also under pressure, aren't they? To they also scared of being bullied, I guess.
It's definitely a mechanism, to be quite honest, and I'm kind of almost ashamed to say it, but I was actually the bully in school when I was young, because I had this experience that boys were always beating up on me. And because I was probably from the first to the fourth grade, I would say, I was always very tall and I would be stronger than the boys. And I somehow developed this thing that I would be mean to other girls that were smaller than me. Not in a, I actually spoken to, and I don't want to now say I'm the bully, it's really bad. I spoken to a few afterwards and they said, oh no, they never felt that I bullied them in a sense. And I still have this feeling of, oh, I did some things that were not okay, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
And it was not because it was more of a mechanism of also protecting myself of, oh, I cannot let anybody, get to me, or like being really tough. And yeah.
Yeah, I can understand the pressures of the bully too, because like in the charity website, which I'm also running a charity called Krupa International Projects, and as you know, that all proceeds of light is not coming to me at all. It's all going to Krupa International Projects, so that we can lift that charity and do work with schools as well, and help where we can. And in that website, I also will we also putting that the bully is also a victim, and the bully is playing out in a different game, whereas the weaker child is playing a game that he can or she can handle. So they all in this dynamics, but because they children, they don't understand what is going on. They just understand what's happening in their playground, but they don't understand that dynamics of how it's going to turn out when they're older.
Yeah, no, definitely. So
Yeah.
do you want to give us a little sneak peek into what Light is all about?
Sure.
Or
So
the storyline, I guess, yeah.
I'm going to stick to the synopsis so I don't give it away.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So Light is about a young boy. When he was young, his parents took a different road. So the parents initially were deciding what name to give him, and they were together. And they're from two different religions, which is Hindu and Muslim. And this child was born and had no idea that he was born in a conflict. And so the conflict was around the name, because there's so much of, the animosity against the two religions. So eventually the parents went different ways, but they named the boy each the name they liked. And so this young boy he's torn between two names. He's torn between two cultures, and he's also torn between which parent should I side with, because I love both my parents. And so he stays sometimes with his dad, and he stays sometimes with his most of the time with his mom in a violent, dangerous area in South Africa. And he goes through massive bullying in the dangerous area, but he comes to the safe area and feels that, okay, I feel safe here. I got a better chance of a better life and making friends here. But he finds on the first time he goes with his bicycle with a group of friends, he's faced with bullying. And so this young boy is very special. He doesn't have a clue about his specialness, if that is a word even, as a writer. But he has no idea the superpowers he has inside of him. And his auntie is the one who she comes back, and she finds she sees this child over a number of times, say maybe 3 times over the years. And when she meets him on the third meeting, she knows exactly what powers this boy has, and he doesn't know. So yeah.
Yeah, oh, nice. You know, it's really interesting that you say about the names, because when I um, came to the US and you meet different people from different backgrounds, they sometimes give you a name. Oh, yeah, my name is John. But actually, their name is something completely different. And they just, because they're from a country where maybe the names are very, I don't know, maybe hard to pronounce for people or something, they just adapt and choose another name. And I'm always so, I don't know, I don't know if the right word is shocked, or I'm mad about it, because I'm like, but that's not your name. How can, then you are like, so, oh yeah, oh, just call me John, but and other people call you this. And then sometimes it's so weird when you're in a group setting and you say, oh, hey John, and the other people call him something different. And I don't know, it makes me feel very weird. So I can imagine how it would feel for a child, especially growing up, being named by their parents something completely different.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, like when I was in my travels and people couldn't pronounce my name, one guy gave me the Nick and says, "I'm calling you TC. I can't say your name." And then I was like, "Okay, why TC?" He says, "Tomcat." Believe it or not, on the phone, one client called me 2-3.
And I think that's even the worst, if people start giving you names that you did not agree upon,
Yeah.
especially as an adult. I mean, sorry. Yeah.
But at least like you can handle the 1-2 because you've been traveling and you understand they can't pronounce your name. But as a child growing up, like you still are trying to understand the world, let alone you're trying to understand your community, your family, your bullies. Why are you doing this to me? And
Yeah.
yeah, so they are like dumped in a lot of things, especially when South Africa is there's no control. Sorry, there's no control over like the poverty and the difficulty, because everything you have to pay is out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah, so now I'm really excited. And I'm really excited that you approached us and you're featuring the Real You training on your book, our free training. So that's really exciting also for us to be sharing into your vision of, bringing that as in a book format to kids, and we can contribute as the videos. So we are, really
Indeed.
happy about that.
So while we are on the subject, I had a book fair on the 28th of July where I put up the posters. On the posters, it says the free 7-day resiliency training for kids between 4 to 10 in the book light when you purchase it. And a lot of parents came to me when they saw that poster, and I had a pamphlets on the table, and they just looked at it and they said, "Are you the author?" And I said, "Yes." They were shocked, first of all, that I was standing in a book fair. Why?
Nice. Yeah.
But I got a chance to speak to them and ask them questions. So one parent said to me, "Do you know that my child goes to a private school, and they kind of knew that there was a problem with this young 12-year-old girl, but they couldn't put their finger on what exactly was the problem. And this 12-year-old girl committed suicide. A 12-year-old. So parents are scared, and so they started giving affirmations to their kids to read in the morning before they go to school, at least 3, and leave it on their desk. So because they're afraid that they don't know what's going on at school. And this lady said to her children, "Go and play because I want to speak to this woman, me." And she asked me if we're going to have any books for teenagers, because she thinks that teenagers as well have bullying issues that are bigger than the kids of 7 to 10 or 6 to 10. And I said that I'm sure there will be something that we will look into in the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think it's just to build a foundation with younger kids, then they are not so likely to bully when they get older, right? But I mean, 12 years old, that's horrible.
It is.
And it's, yeah, I mean, it's, I think, and that's also very scary. I don't know that the numbers or the statistics on it, but I know that there are so many suicides for children, like up to like in school age. And that is, yeah. I guess nowadays also with, you know, social media and the cyberbullying, it never stops. Even if you go home, you can be attacked all the time, and that's just not,
yeah, definitely. It happened to a young 12, 13-year-old in Australia. She committed suicide as well. And I've done some research, and single parents' kids often have a high statistics in bullying as well.
Well, yeah, because then the parent has to make ends meet and is not so much around, and you don't know what 100% is going on in the child's life, or what their real struggles are.
Yeah, and the police can see this. The police who can see that, okay, they are looking. They are looking at a lot more detail than we would as adults, because you and I both remember what life as a kid was. It was cruel in the playground, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I remember a time, and we made those clay houses in school. And the boys, and I think that's where it all, not to make excuses, but that's where it all comes from. They deliberately broke my house. And my mom called the principal of the school. And he said, yeah, sorry, but I can't do anything. Those boys are just trouble. And I was so upset that they kind of got away on breaking something that I really worked hard to build. You know, and then the authority figures in that case said, oh yeah, sorry, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's so heavy. Like that 12-year-old that committed suicide in Australia, I think she was from Victoria, and a child, the only child to single parent, and the mom went so many times to the school, and she even managed to pull her child out of school, and had probably had her going to school. A 12-year-old child is ruined and has to go to school twice a week because of bullying. And then she was manipulated by those bullies. They pretended to make friends with her, and then she ended up in something worse, which caused, I think, about 2 or 3 years of emotional issues from that actual event. And then she couldn't take it anymore. She didn't even say the bullies' names before she committed suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it already starts in school there with the power struggle, right? Like you just said, they made friends with her and all nice, and then, you know, they are attack you. That's even worse, because you trust them, you feel like, oh, they are my friends, and then it's completely the opposite.
Yeah, and that's like that's the worst kind of luck a child can really have, is to meet someone like that you don't, as children, you don't know that bully and how potent or how far they're going to go.
Yeah.
You think that, okay, as a because you come from a trustworthy family with good values, you can't harm anyone. You think that the limit of harm a bully is going to do to you is going to be just the same as your level, but where these bullies, there's some families where these bullies see domestic violence every day in their home, and they are equipped streetwise, where maybe your ordinary child isn't equipped streetwise and isn't yet to that capacity where they can think like a streetwise person. They're in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you just said, you don't know from what background or how is the home life of the bullies or any, yeah, if that's really not a good, yeah, when it's not good, then the kids usually also,
Yeah.
that with them everywhere they go. Yeah.
And how are parents supposed to know? Because they don't go to school with these kids. They hear it from their children. So which parent is going to expect a bully to do something at such a high level, like abuser, basically?
Yeah.
A narcissist. How would you expect that from a teenager? Because they're still growing up. And then you're shocked when it does happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. Oh man. Oh, yeah. So it's very, I think it's such an important topic that is still, I think there are programs out there, and it's still, we need to bring more awareness also to it, and how we can empower kids from early on to really trust in themselves and not to be also so impacted if something happens where they realize, oh, the bully himself or themselves have something within them that triggers that behavior, and it has nothing to do with me, and to really create the strong, that they are strong, I guess, or not so faced by any mistreatment. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I did write a few articles on my blog, www.tdangepatel.com. There's a few articles about bullying there. And I think that in one of the articles, I state that we need to teach our kids to be assertive, and we need to ensure that they know what behaviors others are showing that they need to step away from, because that could be a protection mechanism for themselves. Even though, and kids are afraid to say no because they've been told no all the time.
Yeah, or I mean, but when I was growing up, it was like, as child, you would not dare to speak up. You have your place, and you you know.
Yeah.
So I totally see what you mean. You don't, or you always do what you're told, especially by your parents or teachers and things like that.
Exactly. And some of these bullies who never had maybe a proper education of growing up with a family of love, a family that is united, and they've seen all these nasty patterns in their homes. They don't know any better. So they can see a vulnerable child, and unfortunately, in our adult world, we understand that vulnerability is a good thing, but it's almost as if you can't teach your child to be vulnerable, and your child is confused to even say, "Oh my God, this bully knows more than me. I'm scared to say no."
Yeah, and also I guess to set boundaries. I think that's also something that I did not really learn growing up, to say, okay, and until here and not further, or having that, because I'm a very, I always want to fix things and help people, and so there is sometimes where I'm like, okay, no, I have to say no. It's very difficult for me to just say, until, to break the thing of not always saying yes to everything.
Yeah, I get you, and the others can see say streetwise kids who who have been bullied or are bullying, or the people who are in between, who are caught in between, and they have to play a game so they don't get caught into the bullying, and it doesn't turn around to them. they can see the nice vulnerable kids who are going to say, yes, yeah, have my toy, it's fine, we share it, we'll play with it. And then when the parents turn around, it's a different story. And this all happens behind our backs, because we are busy we are busy in the kitchen preparing their lunch. We're doing this, we're doing that. So there are so many opportunities to get to a child, and it's almost as if you have to be there all the time to watch their behavior and watch what is happening around them. But it's a hard one, because how do you know how much to protect your child and how much to stand back?
Yeah, that's true too. Because you want to give them some freedoms or experience different things on their own. But yeah, but to also have clue or watch out for clues. When my child behaves like that, do I know what it means? Or when they are talking a certain way, to maybe for parents to be very careful to kind of pick it up from that standpoint, because you cannot always 24 hours a day be with your child.
Yeah, can totally get it. They'll be fed up of each other.
Yeah. Wow. So tell us, when is the book coming out? Do you have a date already set, or?
Okay, so the official release date is the 31st of October 2019. However, for the planning purposes, it's going to be released at least 5 days earlier. But the celebration is the 31st of October to say, hey, it's all finished.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The power of light is out to the world. See that light behind me?
Yeah, you have a halo already.
So at the moment, people can buy it on Kindle. They can pre-order it. It's somewhere around $2.49 for the Kindle version, and the paperback is a little bit more according to the standards of Amazon. So it won't be. It will be priced to the minimum possible. Where Amazon says the minimum you can price this book is this much. So I'm hoping for every child to be able to access that book that speaks English, and hopefully we'll have it in other languages. If Light's story, yes, Light's story will be powerful, so other kids will want to read it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so it's just a little while away from being released and everything done, so that's amazing. Well, we will drop all the links where people can pre-order in our notes here, so people can also find you and learn about it. Is there anything else that you would want to share around the book, or what you would want people to know about bullying or your book?
I guess no, because the story is now sealed. So to be packaged until you get it and you read it. The surprise is waiting for you, than the obvious things that I just said.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, really great to catch up with you today, and thanks for your time and all, the valuable work that you're doing around bullying and bringing it so affordable to everybody. That's really awesome. And yeah, and we are excited that we are on the back with our free video training. So that's very exciting for us.
It makes sense, because we're both on the same course.
Yeah.
We're both and your training to Light just kind of fits like a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And I think that's so amazing that we can be in two different places in the world and still collaborate and work together. I really enjoy that.
It's awesome. I love technology for this.
Yeah, me too. Totally.
A few years ago, it wasn't possible.
I know. I mean, I remember growing up seeing something on TV where the guy talked to somebody on the phone and saw them, right? They had like this whole thing, and I was sitting there thinking, how could that be possible, that he sees the other person like he sees them on a screen, and now forward, I don't know how many years, here we sit, right, talking to each other. Yeah, and as child, that was not in my universe that could ever happen.
The digital economy, laptop lifestyle.
It is. Well, thank you so much, Tulsi. I'm sure we're gonna, hear from you again later with more exciting news and your next book or your next vision of where it's gonna go. So I'm looking forward to that.
Amazing. It was lovely catching up with you today as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Okay.